Hey everybody, Samitari here, and I am back with another TPP video. Sam talks about Twitch Plays Pokemon, and I am finishing off this whole Twitch Plays Pokemon stuff with Twitch Plays Pokemon X. Now, this was the one that everybody was looking forward to, but they were also really scared about, because the thing is, we beat Black and Black 2 a lot faster than anybody really expected us to, considering Emerald took us like, what, 25 plus days? Almost. So basically what happened was we beat these games a lot faster than anybody really expected us to, and even playing the post-game didn't really help. And X and Y had already come out, people had had them for a while, and we were wondering how we were going to play this because there were no 3DS emulators. And so it was going to be a really, really tough hassle. And not only were we worried about finding an emulator that would play X and Y, we were worried about the legality of it. If we found a way to get a Pokemon X or Y hack, you know, there's the whole copyright thing, it was still such a new game. The reason why Nintendo really probably didn't care much about Twitch Plays Pokemon is because all the older games, their Wi-Fi capabilities have been disabled. So really, they're older games, but they're kind of out there. Like, no one really cares about them anymore, because you can't even use the Wi-Fi on them, you can't even use Dream World, there's just so much you cannot do with these games anymore, because they've closed off that channel. And so basically what happened was I feel like Nintendo didn't really care about the whole legal issue of playing a ROM or anything like that, much like they don't care about the ROM hacks, unless you're actually buying them. They don't really care about the ROM hacks because really you can't trade with anybody, and you're missing out a lot of the more popular features with Pokemon, which is battling your friends and trading with your friends. And but with Pokemon X and Y, it was a lot different. So luckily, we ended up finding someone that had a 3DS and a capture card and somehow was able to link this all up to a computer so that people could input commands, the 3DS would stay on, and not only could we connect to the internet, but we could just do a whole bunch of things because it was an actual 3DS, and it was really, really amazing. So our character, we ended up choosing a boy and naming him D. And his nickname was Little D, which was really funny, because everybody started calling him Little Dick. And the personality for D is something that I really, really like. D on the outside is basically someone who, okay, actually, disclaimer. There were a billion different lores for D. Okay, D had a billion different lores, and the one that I'm about to tell you about is the one that people hate the most, but was the one that I liked the most. The lore for D is that he, basically people just had him as this snobbish, stupid brat thing, but it was because he was, like, mentally disturbed. And the thing is I'm taking that, but I'm also taking another chunk of a lore that someone created, and people were like, oh my god, don't do that to our character. We have too many characters like that already. But I'm gonna do it anyways. So Little D in the lore that I'm picking, that I really like the most, because I don't really remember much of the other ones, is that, like I said, D on the outside is a dick, and is very self-centered, very egotistical, and very conceited. And D is one of those people where he is just like, oh, I've graced you with my beautiful presence, you should be proud. And even though D thinks that he's this ultimate trainer, really on the inside, D is a very insecure, scared person with a lot of emotions kind of taking control. D has severe anxiety, severe paranoia, doesn't know how to react around other people, and D is actually a girl. Stay with me here. Okay, so basically a lore popped up occasionally that, D was choosing all these clothes and doing all these things, and D was actually very insecure because D was kind of like, it was having gender identity issues. And I really like this. So it's like D was very insecure about herself because she was having a lot of gender identity issues. And through these gender identity issues, not only was D developing this personality of being a boy and trying to be a boy because she felt more comfortable this way, but also in the process of being a boy, she was so worried that, oh my god, what if they don't like me, that she took all of her fears and turned it into this stuck-up, snotty personality, thinking that even if everybody hated her, that's okay, because, it just made her feel more safe. And I don't know why this made sense, but it just did. So the lore was that I chose was that Dee was actually a girl that was pretending to be a boy with an egotistical attitude because she felt like nobody would like her for who she really is. And that kind of made it cute because as she's traveling around, you have those moments with your other teammates where you're like watching the fireworks with the girl and she's like, I'm glad you're here, and that really defined a moment. Now, me personally, as a lesbian, I always liked the lesbian subplots and sub-stories. I loved how Awu was a lesbian. There's a thing about Alice from Fire Red being a lesbian too. I always liked that. I thought it was really cute, but people in the TPP community really complained because they're like, no, we have too many lesbians, and something about AJ being in love with Joey. I don't know. I'd never heard of this, but when I was researching why people were complaining about gay couples, I found out that there's a thing there. So I don't know. I really just don't know. So anyways, it was just one of those things where the community was complaining about this lore. I really liked it, and I went with it the entire time. Anyways, enough about Dee as a person. So we ended up beating the game in 5 days, 4 hours, and 51 minutes. And this was like the quickest we have ever beaten a game. But X and Y is so easy. And not only is it easy, not only is it very easy to the point where you could basically play the game practically blindfolded and beat it because it's made for babies, the fact that we had internet access on this gave us a chance to actually do things like Wonder Trade. And so we were able to do Wonder Trade with people that had Dee's friend code. We were able to trade with just random people that were popping up on the feed. I actually have Dee on my acquaintances list because I made friends with a guy that was friends with Dee. And so he showed up in that little list, and I ended up almost battling him. So if you're already seeing this video, I don't know if I'm going to put it up yet, but if you're already seeing this video, it might be a looping video. But it's actually me getting to challenge Dee almost for like a brief minute. Like, it was accepted and we were waiting and we go in there and then the battle stops. And I was so angry because I was trying to battle Little Dee so much and I was trying to trade, but the trading requests just weren't going through and battling was pretty much the only option for me to get any interaction with Dee whatsoever because there were hundreds upon hundreds of people wanting to trade and battle with Dee. There actually came a time where Dee finally turned the internet off because it was just so distracting. You couldn't take 2 steps within the post-game without the internet, popping up going, hey, trade with this person. Hey, trade with this person. And the grid commands made it so that we almost always said yes. So, but people weren't only trading junk to Dee. People were actually trading really good Pokemon to Dee. And I have never seen so many fucking people trading such awesome Pokemon for junk. They didn't care, because it was a Twitch Plays Pokemon. We could have sent them in a Bidoof, and they would have sent us a level 100 whatever. It was absolute madness. I can't even begin to explain the madness of the situation. So anyways, our team, our final team for the E4 consisted of a level 68 Lapras, which we called Zapdos, a level 81 Charizard, which we called Tiger, which was also called Italy, just because something about where it came from, I think we traded and it came from Italy? No. Something about colors or something about his name that was, people were like, Italy! But, I think his name was like ITLY or something, but Tiger is what we called him. Level 80 Xerneas, which we called Deer God, a level 70 Absol, which was called Moonduggy, and a level 72 Howlucha, which we called Muchalucha, and a level 93 Aegislash, which was our favorite Pokemon, which we called Oi Oi Suave. Or Oi Oi Suave, but I always say Oi Oi Suave. But our team, our post-game team, which was where we were getting all these wonder traits and shit, and like we were trading our whole party. We traded our whole fucking E4 party, and we traded a bunch of shit in our boxes too. And we got a bunch of random shit. Like at one point in our early game, we got like a shiny Beldum, but I don't even know what happened to that. So our post-game team, when we finally stopped the game, now this list is incorrect because the feed told me there was a Dusknoir in there and like another Pokemon that I totally forgot about. I forget what it was. I think it was trying to think what it was. I don't remember. All I know is that there are variations between this list when we finally shut off the game, because I know we did finally shut off the internet and call it quits, but one list says that we had a Dusknoir in there, while the other one says that we don't. We have like a Gyarados or something. So I don't know, this list is not 100% correct, but a lot of the Pokemon in this list are correct because they stayed with us, like the Drifblim and the Hydreigon and the Charizard. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so the list I have has a level 62 Aegislash, which was called Smogon Sword, and it actually was nicknamed Smogon Sword. The level 61 Drifblim, the level 35 Gyarados, the level 100 Garchomp named Alcreora, and the level 1 Electrike, and the level 100 Hydreigon. The difference between this and the other one is that if you take out the Gyarados and the Electrike, and you add in a Charizard and a Dusknoir, that's basically what the stream is saying we had as our final team before they stopped updating it. So I don't know which one's correct, but that's totally up to you. But anyways, basically, since we had internet, we were able to do a lot of stuff. This was going on during the time where you could get the Fancy Vivillon, and we ended up getting the Fancy Vivillon in the mystery gift, and we shoved it in the daycare, but that was called Demon Butterfly, which is cool. It was our first character to interact with real players, and the thing is they even created a lore for this. They said that the players that were interacting with D were the voices that were they had somehow become so powerful that they could take human form, and they were trying to constantly give D Pokemon from other dimensions, and they were always trying to battle with D and cause D more trouble. And something about awakening, like I guess we had so many awakenings that it was implied that D wasn't allowed to sleep, which made sense because the 3DS was always on, but none of our characters sleep anyways. But and Dee was trying to hurry up and get rid of the voices because she was afraid that she was going to drop dead if she didn't. First game using a real system, like I said, we actually used a 3DS, and it wasn't a PC-ROM. Our happy message was FUM, so every time Dee sent a happy message, it said FUM. We released 0 Pokemon. It said that we battled 3 battles in full, because oftentimes when there was a battle, we would exit out of the battle and therefore forfeit. Because Dee's commands would want to get out of the battle as soon as possible, but I think we only battled 3 battles in full, and we lost all 3 of them, go figure. And the number of trades is literally unknown in this, because we wonder traded so many times, and we were just normal trading too. So we were trading with normal people, we were doing wonder trade back and forth throughout the entirety of the game, really, and it was just absolutely craziness. And so I can't even imagine how many trades we did. I don't even know who ended up with what. I don't even know if any player stepped forth and said, hey, I have a Twitch Plays Pokemon. I know that there are people that mimic Twitch Plays Pokemon, and they like clone their abilities, like their stats down to the T, you know, and they breed them and nickname them all the same so that people can have them, and those are actually really popular. But as far as who got legit Gen 6 TPP Pokemon, I have no idea. So it's crazy. And our starter was a Chespin, and we never released him, but we did stick him in a box after he turned into his Quilladin form, and we never picked him up again. So yeah. So other than that, I don't really have anything to say about it. I was really excited to talk about Pokemon X because I really, really liked it. From the changing clothes, to the battling people, to the post-game, to running around, to the fact that these people were constantly competing to talk with D, to battle D, to trade with D. Like, it was just really, really awesome. It was a really fun time, and this was actually the most I had gotten into TPP since Emerald or Platinum, and I was just really super excited for this. And I remember staying up all night going, please battle me! And I kept losing connection, and I was really frustrated, and it was just, it was crazy, but it was so cool at the same time. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. I didn't watch us fight the champion, though, and that's why, I had to search forever to find our actual Elite Four team that went into the Hall of Fame, because by the time I got on, we had already beaten the E4, and we had wonder traded so many times that our party was nowhere near the same, and I was like, ah! So yeah. So anyways, that's all I have to say about this video. It's not as long as my other ones, just because I don't really have much lore to kind of give you after that. I know that we lost to our rival at some point, like the female with the blonde hair that I always forget her name. We lost to her at some point, and so she was supposed to get the Mega Stone, but we ended up getting it anyways, even though we lost. or something like that. And like we were really selfish, and we were always taking things for ourselves, and like I don't know, but at the same time we weren't as selfish, because when someone asked us if we were the ones that defeated Team Flare, we said no. And so like it was kind of like a defining moment or a shaping moment where they kind of asked, we were all sitting there looking and going, okay, so D's an asshole, yeah, but D also doesn't want to do things that D might think is not socially acceptable. So we don't want to take credit for defeating Team Flare, because we didn't really defeat them alone, but yeah, and we don't want to be totally selfish, so it was kind of one of those moments where D was fighting with her inner self and was like, I don't want to be a jerk, it happened. So I'm not really sure. That's just how I see it. That's how I personally see it. But other than that, I don't really remember much of the story. I watched it in bits and pieces, and because we beat it in 5 days, we would always make so much progress in one day. Unless I was watching it every single fucking day it popped up, it was literally impossible to keep up with. And I totally just remembered that I have not eaten a bit of my breakfast and it's been sitting there forever. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and say, like this video if you liked it. I might make one for Oris whenever they play it. I'm not sure if I will, but if you want me to, go ahead and leave me a like and let me know. Leave me a comment down below letting me know what storylines I might have missed as far as D goes. Let me know if you battled D. Let me know if you traded with D and you got a TPP Pokemon, and let me know which one it is. So, and especially if it's a main one, like that would be really, really cool. I'm just interested to know who has them. So I'm not going to trade for them because my 3DS isn't working as far as internet goes right now, but I'm just really interested to see who has what and why. So that's just my thing. And yeah, so until the next one, if there is a next one, I will talk to you guys later and hope you enjoyed listening about Pokemon X. Twitch plays Pokemon X. Alright, Samatari out. Ciao, you guys.